Hello friends in District 4, this is Commissioner Ryan Baty. I'd like to share with you a quick update on some things we're working on here at Sedgwick County. Over the last week, there has been a lot of news regarding the fire at Evergreen Recycling on 53rd Street in Park City. To be clear, fires happen all the time in this community, and many people pay little attention because our fire crews, they do their jobs well, and they do it with little fanfare. But this fire was different for a few reasons, namely because the size of the property and that this was the second large-scale incident at this location over the last 2 years. As a reminder, in October of 2022, this popular recycling location caught fire when a spontaneous combustion grew into a massive blaze. For nearly a week straight, Sedgwick County firefighters worked around the clock and expended nearly 1.5 million gallons of water to finally defeat this dangerous fire. Thankfully, no one was hurt, and there was no damage to the businesses and residences that surround the property. Fast forward to Sunday, June 23rd, our fire crews once again answered the call to fight a fire at this location. This time, a dangerous situation was made even more complex for our personnel on scene because of the consecutive days of 100-degree plus heat and high winds that were shifting direction. Over 25 firefighters with help from Wichita Fire and Valley Center Fire immediately set a line of protection to the north and worked to contain the fire from spreading. What complicated the situation was that on-scene commanders could not get personnel or equipment close enough to the fire to actually extinguish the flames. And the situation was growing more dangerous by the minute due to high heat and high winds. Multiple conversations and concerns actually led to an action used very rarely in Sedgwick County with a formal request to the state for help. So on Monday, June 24th, after meeting with fire staff, emergency management staff, county managers, and my colleagues on the commission, as chairman of the board, I signed a proclamation declaring a local state of disaster emergency. This authorization allowed the Army National Guard to come on scene with a support helicopter to deliver a much-needed water response from the air. This assistance of the water resources from the air was a game changer. And by the end of the day, the fire was under control. So, many of you have asked and many have emailed, what's next? There have been multiple fires at this location and many resources have been expended. Those are fair and reasonable questions. First, please note that this location recently passed a fire inspection and were compliant within code. In fact, the business had went above and beyond what was actually asked of them, lowering the size of the pallet piles and extending the fire breaks from the required 30 feet to 50 feet. The folks at Evergreen Recycling have been good partners on scene and have always been helpful and agreeable. Second, there have been a lot of questions on who pays for what. Well, the emergency declaration allows for the state to offer resources at no cost to the local taxpayer, a partnership that we are incredibly grateful for. The water used by the helicopter came from a KDOT pond, and the water used on scene was largely from private metered water wells, a cost that will be borne by the property owner himself. Like many of you, your tax dollars pay for fire services, and this property received the quality services they have paid for through taxation. Lastly, we owe it to the business owner, neighboring businesses, and the neighboring residences, as well as our firefighters, to have a debrief to make sure we are doing all we can to prevent another future fire. Safety is the primary concern, and now that we are on the other side of operations, that meeting will be scheduled soon with all the relevant stakeholders, and a healthy conversation will take place. After multiple calls and messages, I felt it was important to formally address the situation in my monthly newsletter so that all the people in District 4 had a baseline understanding of what took place and the future discussions that will be occurring. As you know, there's a lot going on in Sedgwick County. Some challenges, of course, but also lots of great opportunities. And I'm grateful to serve and represent you. If you have any questions or want to share some feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to give us a call here at the office or send me an email directly. As always, thank you, District 4.